We won't do the 400. We'll just see what we can get done. So how many types of hazardous waste have been identified? I think it was 3, but let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's that? Okay. And I mean, I'll send this to you as well. So it's actually 4, and they are the 4 types of hazardous waste. They are identified as the F list, K list, P list, and U list. So the next one. Which DEA form must be completed to verify the destruction of Schedule 2 narcotics? I know the 222 form is to order narcotics and to send narcotics back. What's that? Let's see. Nope. We're both wrong. In the case of destruction of Schedule 2 narcotics, DEA Form 41 would need to be filled out. So it's DEA Form 41 for destruction of narcotics. Which of the following is required by OBRA 90? To maintain the patient confidentiality, that's more in HIPAA. Perform biannual inventory of controlled substance, perform drug utilization evaluation for each patient, package a prescription using child-resistant packaging. Usually with over 90, it's a pharmacist who has to either cancel the patient. So for the most part, it would be, I'm pretty sure it's perform drug utilization evaluation for each patient. Yeah. So over 90 requires a pharmacist to perform a drug utilization evaluation, which is called DUE, or the acronym is DUE, formerly known as drug utilization review for each patient. The Controlled Substance Act requires a pharmacy to perform a biannual inventory. So the Controlled Substance Act is for that one. HIPAA requires pharmacy personnel to maintain patient confidentiality. And the Poison Prevention Packaging Act requires a prescription to be packaged in child-resistant container. So that's why kind of be familiar with all your laws and acts. What action should a pharmacy technician take if a pregnant patient presents a prescription for isotretinoin? And isotretinoin is a medication for acne, and for women cannot take it if they're wanting to get pregnant, and it's been known to give birth defects. So it's either alert the pharmacist of the situation, contact the prescriber regarding the prescription and the patient's condition, fill the prescription, or return the prescription to the patient. What action should the pharmacy technician take? Yeah. That's the first thing. And then that after that, the pharmacist would call the prescriber. Pharmacists must be informed of the situation so that they may discuss the clinical situation with both the physician and the patient. What is the purpose of DEA? Is it accepting DEAs from the manufacturers? enforcing the Controlled Substance Act of 1970, licensing pharmacists, or overseeing the MedWatch program? Yeah, it should be. Yeah. For the most part, yeah, enforcing the Controlled Substance Act of 1970. I believe like the FDA would be over the MedWatch program, and licensing pharmacists would be probably state board. NDAs for manufacturer. I'm trying to figure out what the acronym for NDA. I cannot think of it. Which of the following drug recall descriptions is correct? Class 1 reasonable. Class 1 means that it's reasonable probability that the use of the product will cause or lead to a serious adverse health event or death. Class 2 use of product will probably not cause an adverse health event. Class 3 probability exists that the use of the product will cause adverse health events that are temporary or medically reversible. And class 4 use of product will not cause an adverse health event. Yeah. So I list here the following correct descriptions of drug recalls, reasonable probability to use. For the most part, class 1 is would equal to probably near-death experience or death. Probability will not affect you so much. It's temporary or medically reversible. And class 3, use of product will probably not cause an adverse event. And there's no class 4. And I'm pretty sure you'll see that on the test. Which of the following does not need to be dispensed in a child-resistant container? B is the repertoire. So for more likely, I mean, we don't have a child-resistant container for birth control. Yeah, but that's good. That's how you're supposed to. Just remember how they look. Which of the following should be done first if an individual is exposed to hazardous drugs? Cleans the affected skin with soap and water. Document exposure in the employee's medical record. Obtain medical attention or remove the gloves or gown. I'm gonna assume A, but we'll try to see. First thing to do if an individual is exposed to hazardous drugs to remove his or her gloves or gown. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, that is true because you don't know if. For the most part, I mean, I figured that's the first thing I'm gonna jump to, but you would have gloves and a gown to begin with. Because I know one time when I was doing mixing a compound, and it was a syringe to syringe compound, so I had 260 syringes. I was mixing them, and one of the syringes popped off, and I was pushing down on it. I was pushing down, and it popped off, and it had some acid in it. So it was kind of a lotion type thing, but because it had acid, it squirted all up in my eye, and it started burning really, really bad. First thing I did was to wash it out with the I was, but I was dying. It hurt so bad that I was hurt. I thought I was gonna be blind. How long is DEA Form 222 valid after it has been written and signed by the pharmacist in charge? That's the DA form is what we use to order. So how long do you think it's good for once it's signed by the pharmacist? Yeah, let's try. Actually, 60 days. Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You kind of want to say 72 hours, but yeah. 60 days after being written by the pharmacist in charge of the pharmacy. Okay. So it's just a matter of repetition. Where would a pharmacy technician find information regarding a drug recall? Yeah. Yeah. Complete listing of all medication recalls is found in the FDA website. Which type of medications are overseen by PDMPs? Uh, let me find it. Well, prescription drug monitoring program. That's what it's for. Which type of medications are overseen by the prescription drug monitoring program? Okay, correct. Was that homeopathic? No, it really doesn't give much on that. Neither on the investigation of drugs either. Either hazardous or controlled for the most part. A prescription for isotretinoin, which is that Accutane, uh, really severe uh, medication that will affect uh, babies. So a prescription for isotretinoin is presented to the pharmacy. What is the maximum number of refills permitted for this prescription? Since it's something that's pretty, it's severe medication for patients, especially for the that causes respiratory. How many refills do you take? Three? None? None? It is zero. Because the prescriber wants to keep track and see how the patient is doing, especially after 4 months, because it could affect the female and if she's trying to get pregnant. The prescriber should know. Yeah, refills are not permitted. The pharmacy technician wishes to become familiar with non-steroid compounding standards. To which USP chapter should they refer to? Non-steroid compounding standards is this is all pretty much well you'll do non-steroid compounding standards in some retail pharmacies, but for the most part 800 and 797 pertain to hospital. I've never seen a 1790 actually. I don't think there is a 1790. So process of elimination would allow me to think it's 795. Because 797 refers to sterile compounding under the hood. 800 refers to sterile compounding when you're doing chemo. And I've never seen a 1790. So 795 addresses non-sterile compounding. 797 addresses sterile compounding. 800 addresses hazardous drugs. 1790 addresses visual inspection of injections. I didn't know that. Which piece of legislation established two classifications of medications, prescription and over-the-counter? Orphan Drug Act is mainly drugs that are for people who are, well, they're for patients who have very rare diseases. So that's like drugs that are people for 200,000 or less. I would have to go back and check on this in the other thing here. What's y'all's guess? Yeah, it's little bit there. Let's see. Food and Drug Act of 1906, enacted in 1906 to prohibit the interstate transportation or sale of adulterated and misbranded food or drugs. The Durham-Humphrey Amendment of 1951, and the amendment to the FDCA 1938 required all products to have adequate directions for use unless they contain the federal legend. Caution federal law prohibits dispensing without a prescription. Separating drugs into two categories, legend and non-legend OTC. So it would be the Durham-Humphrey Amendment. The T. Balfour-Harris Amendment requires all medications in the United States to be pure, safe, and effective. Establish procedures for both drug applications and investigation of drugs. Drug manufacturers are required to be responsible for good manufacturing. So it's actually Durham-Humphrey Amendment. Pharmacy must register with the CNR prior to dispensing which medication? CNR. Well, it wouldn't be ciprofloxacin because that's just a regular antibiotic. It could be isotretinoin because I know because isotretinoin is a dangerous drug. Clozapine is used for people coming off of methamphetamines. It could be that one as well. Thalidomide, I'm not remember that. I know that's a severe drug. What y'all's guess? Isotretinoin. Prescribers in pharmacies must be registered with Clozaril National Registry. So CNR means Clozaril National Registry before they can prescribe or dispense clozapine. And clozapine is, for people who are drug addicts, especially with the methamphetamines, to take them off. Well, they're trying to get them off from their tolerate their toleration. Yeah. What is the meaning of the acronym REMS? Is it reverse epidermal and muscular syringe, risk enterprise and mobility sequence, risk evaluation and migration strategy, or risk evaluation and mitigation strategy? Only one that I really say. Because it wouldn't be reverse epidermal and muscular syringe. What's up? D? Yeah. Hey, you might as well take the exam now. Oh, okay. Yeah, you gotta make sure you read it slow. You got time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, migration, you never really seen that in the pharmacies. And I mean, mitigation, that sounds pretty much pharmaceutical type, I guess. Pharmaceutical wording. Which of the following is not a principle of the code of ethics for pharmacy technicians? So it's not a principle. Technicians should use their knowledge to ensure the patient's safety and health. Technicians should assist pharmacists in distributing resources in safe, effective, and cost-efficient manner. Technicians may disrespect the ability of pharmacists and other health professionals when warranted, or technicians should respect patient dignity, privacy, and approved drug products with therapeutic equivalent evaluations is commonly referred to as approved drug products with therapeutic equivalent evaluations. Never heard of the blue book or the purple. Okay. Orange, top. It's referred to as the orange book. Good guess, good guess. I think y'all need it. Yeah. Good job. Which organization may discipline the pharmacy technician if he or she engages in improper conduct related to the practice of pharmacy? APHA is pharmacist organization. BOP is Board of Pharmacy. And NABP is National Association of Board of Pharmacy. Or D, all of these. For the most part, we will have to we have to register with the state board of pharmacy. And if we do get in trouble out here, say I don't know if I told you about the incident my friend had with, she got in a car accident. She was intoxicated. So she went to court. She had to go to court here to see what she did with anything. See what they gave. But she also has to tell the state or the pharmacy that she could get in trouble for it. And they could allow, they won't go by what the court says. They'll have their own investigation. So they put her on like 5-year probation. And she had to call every day for either like a drug screen or alcohol screen. So for the most part, Board of Pharmacy is going to be over what technicians do. It would be Board of Pharmacy. State Board of Pharmacy is the regulatory state agency that oversees the practice of pharmacy in a given state. The Board of Pharmacy defines regulations affecting the pharmacy as well as the roles, duties, and expectations of the pharmacists and pharmacy technicians in that state. Board of Pharmacy has the authority to discipline pharmacies, pharmacists, and pharmacy technicians for improper behavior. Hello. All right. Which component of risk evaluation and mitigation strategy, REMS, is a Dear Healthcare Provider letter? This is one of the questions I ain't never seen before. Communication plan, elements to ensure safe use, implementation system, medication guides, or patient packaging service. Which component of risk evaluation and mitigation strategy is a Dear Healthcare Provider? Any guesses? Which one? Communication. Let's look at it. Dear Health Provider letter is component of elements to assure safe use. That, I don't know, see Dear Healthcare Provider. See what that is. Guidance provides recommendations to industry. Recommendations to industry and FDA staff on the content and format of Dear Healthcare Provider letters. Letters are correspondence often in the form of a mass mailing for the manufacturer, distributor of a human drug or biologic, or from FDA, intended to alert physicians and other healthcare providers about important new or updated information regarding a human drug or biology. Okay. So either new drugs or your new information on it. An adverse effect associated with levothyroxine. So levothyroxine deals with if you have hyperthyroid. What would be an adverse effect? Would bradycardia means a slowing of the heart rate? We all know constipation is. Hypotension would be the opposite of hypertension, or weight loss. Hyper means to increase. See? Let's see if we guess right. No. Adverse effect of levothyroxine is weight loss. Levothyroxine may cause tachycardia, which is an increase of heart rate, not bradycardia, diarrhea, not constipation, and hypertension, not hypertension. Weight loss. Which schedule of medications has no approved medical use in the United States and possesses an extremely high potential for abuse? Schedule 1. Schedule 1 is your worst, I guess, of all the drugs that you can get addicted real easy. Under the Controlled Substance Act, Schedule 1 medications have no accepted medical use in the United States other than cannabis, which I'm pretty sure is they're going to take that off, and possess an extremely high potential for abuse. Schedule 2 still can create abuse, but it's okay to dispense. Schedule 3 is not so much for abuse, and Schedule 4 again lower chances for abuse. All of the following are valid DEA numbers except which one? So we would have to add the 2, 5, and 8, and 4, 6, and 7 multiplied by 2 and add the sums. Which one do y'all think would be the correct one? They all in the 9, so I'm going to have to look at the letters. I think it's the Z. You don't think there's a Z? Okay. Actually, it's a. Wait. The first letter of the EA number begins with either A, B, F, M, or X. Why is it saying? All of the following are valid DEA numbers except which one? So we got F. Yeah. I don't know why it's saying that's incorrect, but that is the correct answer. What's that? Yeah, it's saying incorrect, but that's the correct answer. I don't know why. I guess there's a glitch. Okay. B is the correct. Yeah, I know. But yeah, really? Yeah, they get some questions. But yeah, the correct answer is there's no Z. Drug must meet at least one of 6 criteria to be deemed hazardous. All of the following included in these criteria, except which one? Carcinogenicity, genotoxicity, organ toxicity at low doses in humans or animals, reproductive toxicity in animals. Which one? B? B? Let's see. Good job. Reproductive toxicity in animals is not one of the 6 criteria. The criteria are as follows: carcinogenicity, teratogenicity, or developmental toxicity. Reproductive toxicity in humans, organ toxicity at low doses in humans or animals, and genotoxicity and new drugs that mimic existing hazardous drugs in structural toxicity. So anything that's just with toxicity with animals is not. What is the first step the pharmacy should do after being notified of a drug recall. Contact all patients who have ever been prescribed the medication. Determine if any of the recall medication is in the stock, and if so, place it in the area away from all other medications. Notify the physician in the area. Run a report identifying all patients who have ever received the medication. What's the first step? Which one? A? You said A? That could be it, possibly. Anybody else have any guess? Let's try A first and see. So check the pharmacy shelves first. That would be the first thing I would do. For the most part, FDA will send a letter with the lot number and the correct NDC number and the date that it was made. If there's any of the recall medications in stock, put it aside and notify the pharmacist. The recall medication should be kept separate from the remaining pharmacy inventory so it is not dispensed to a patient. Then after that, you would end up calling the patient. Because we would have to look to see if we use that certain specific lot number for those that we could. Which of the following is an appropriate way to dispose of non-returnable medications? Bag them with the regular pharmacy trash and place the bag in a cardboard box. Flush them down the toilet or dump them in the sink. Reduce the selling price of these medications prior to their expiration to encourage sales. And utilize a company that adheres to EPA regulations regarding destruction of medication. That'd be good. Yeah. That's correct. The Safe Water Drinking Act requires the safe disposal of medications through a company that follows OSHA, EPA, and DOT regulations. But we do put them in like a trash liner inside of a box. We put them all in there, and then that the EPA, that company would come and take it up. Unless they're narcotics, they would check to see the quantity of the narcotics and how much they have in the bottle, because they're tracked. But yes, we utilize a company. A prescriber of controlled substances may issue multiple prescriptions, authorizing the patient to receive a total of up to how many days supply of a Schedule II controlled substance if specific conditions are met? 30, 60, 90, or 100? I don't think you would know this unless you're looking on the scene and you see it right. You say? Let's see. Anybody got a different guess? Which one? D? Mm-hmm. A or B? How about you right there? You guess? Okay. So majority is A. Say A. We'll try A first. I believe it's C. Prescriber of controlled substances may issue multiple prescriptions, authorizing patients to receive a total of up to a 90-day supply of a Schedule II controlled substance if the following conditions are met. Each prescription must be issued on a separate prescription blank. Each separate prescription must be issued for a legitimate medical purpose by an individual practitioner acting in the usual course of professional practice. The individual practitioner must provide written instructions on each prescription. Other than the first prescription, if the prescribing practitioner intends for the prescription to be filled immediately, indicating the earliest date in which a pharmacy may fill each prescription. The individual practitioner concludes that providing the patient with multiple prescriptions in this manner does not create an undue risk of diversion or abuse. And finally, the issuance of multiple prescriptions is permitted under applicable state laws. But for the most part, it's good. You can get a 90-day supply of Schedule 2. What is the meaning of DUE? Directions under evaluation, drug under evaluation, drug used externally, drug utilization evaluation. For the most part, that's the one that y'all seen that before. Right. The wording. Yeah. DUE is an acronym for Drug Utilization Evaluation, which is mandated under OBRA 90, which pretty much only allows the pharmacists to counsel patients. Which organization is responsible for issuing drug recalls? FDA. Responsible for issuing drug recalls is the FDA. FDA has authority to issue a medication recall if the manufacturer does not voluntarily issue it. Which of the following can be used to order Schedule 1 through 5 controlled substances without the supporting DEA Form 222? And I guess you would have to be the buyer to really know this, or the pharmacist. I can't think of the acronym. I know it has controlled substance in there, so it's going to have CS. So it wouldn't be this one. And I don't think it's this one here. So it's these two. And just by dealing with it and being the buyer, I know it's always called the seesaw. We call it seesaw. Controlled Substance Ordering System. CSOS allows for secure electronic transmission of Schedule 1 through 5 controlled substances or orders without supporting DEA Form 222. And that's Cardinal has an online ordering system. And you wouldn't have to fill out the paperwork. But you would have to be registered under the CSAW's, I don't know, something with CSAW's, you'd have to be registered. Prescription monitoring programs, or PMP, are used to monitor what? Adverse effects of medications, controlled substance prescriptions, medication therapy monitoring, or medication errors. Huh? Controlled substance, it's geared to all medications. So it's not B. Say A. Oh, my guess would be B. It would be controlling medication errors. Well, it's not D. Prescription monitoring programs are used to monitor controlled substances. You're right. I think you can take the exam already. PMPs identify patients receiving controlled substance and the prescribers of these medications. So just remember, PMP monitors controlled substance prescriptions. You might want to put down prescription monitoring programs. Because, I don't know if y'all remember. Well, I will put in parentheses the acronym to it. Pharmacy technician can perform all of the following tasks during order entry and prescription filling process, except accept a new prescription over the telephone from a physician's office, adjudicate a prescription, which means to bill it under the insurance, collect patient information, which we can collect that, request refill authorization from the physician's office. Adjudicate means like you can run the insurance. Okay? Everybody agree? It is a pharmacy technician cannot accept a new prescription telephoning to the pharmacy from the physician's office. From what I hear, don't think this will work, but because of the COVID and all this and that, and they got real busy, and they lost manpower because they were shorthanded. They were letting the techs take orders over the phone. But for now, let's just keep it as is, except we cannot accept a new prescription over the telephone from a physician's office. Because for the most part, I don't think we'll be shorthanded, or the company won't be shorthanded for too long. What do the three sets of numbers in an NDC number reflect? Does it reflect drug manufacturer, drug product, and the year the NDA was filed? That don't really make sense. Drug manufacturer, drug product, and packaging. Drug manufacturer, drug name, and drug strength. Drug manufacturer, drug product, and drug classification. Which one? D? That's saying D? It's actually B. The Drug Listing Act of 1972. So you might want to reference that back and look at that. The Drug Listing Act of 1972 provided a unit number system for the each product. This 11-digit number identifies the drug manufacturer, drug product, and the package size. And I'm recording it too, so I'll send it to you. How should a pharmacy technician handle an item that is saturated with blood or body fluids? Incinerate at the facility, place in biohazard bag, place in sharps container, place in a trash receptacle. Everybody agree? Yeah. Place in a biohazard bag. According to USP 797, an item that is saturated with blood or body fluid should be placed in a biohazard bag. Remember, USP 797 deals with sterile compounding. $795 deals with non-sterile compounding, and 800 deals with chemotherapy compounding. All right. Which piece of legislation permits a patient to return unused controlled substances to a designated pharmacy? Combat Methamphetamine Act of 2005, Controlled Substance Act, Poison Prevention Packaging Act, Secure and Responsible Drug Disposal Act of 2010. Sounds the most logical. Under the Secure and Responsible Drug Disposal Act of 2010, an individual is able to return unused controlled substance medications to a designated pharmacy for proper disposal in a safe and effective manner. So that's like, well, it says what? Unused controlled. Okay, so that's like when you got narcotics in your cell, they take it back either to the police department or to a pharmacy. Especially narcotics. Who oversees PDMPs? What was that? Who? PDMPs. Prescription drug monitoring programs. Which one? Let's look at it. State governments oversee PDMPs. So state government. Prescription drug monitoring programs. All of the following medications are classified as Schedule II drugs, except which one? Schedule II. Codeine, fentanyl, Schedule II. Methylphenidate is for ADD, ADHD. Daisy. What would be the more harmful one? Is it lorazepam or methylphenidate? Which one is more abusive to you? Which one? D is like a medication for ADD. For Daisy. Oh, for C. That's for anti-anxiety. So George, you think it's D? Huh? I'm gonna put the Lorazepam is scheduled for the Lorazepam schedule 4. The rest are scheduled 2s. All right. How many options are there for the storage of paper-controlled substance prescriptions? Paper-controlled substance prescriptions. Not really understanding the question. How many options are there for the storage of paper-controlled substance prescriptions?
I would say the least, because it's controlled. You don't want to have so much paperwork. So I'm going to assume it's going to be the least.
I agree. That's to be. There are 2 options for filing paper-controlled substance prescriptions. Option 1 requires 3 files, where 1 file is for Schedule 2 controlled substances, 1 file is for Schedule 3, 4, and 5 controlled substances, and the 3rd file is for non-controlled substances. Second option has all Schedule 2 prescriptions in 1 file and all remaining prescriptions in a 2nd file.
Do you remember? It's been a minute since I've worked in
Retail, but I believe we just had a Schedule 2
the rest were just all together.
Which of the following are examples of pharmacy records that must be maintained for a minimum of 2 years? Initial and biannual inventories, records of controlled substances dispensed, self-certification certificate, and logbook, or all the above. Which of the following are examples of pharmacy records that must be maintained for a minimum of 2 years?
Let's say D. Everybody else is in?
Hmm?
Good? That good?
Well, let's try D first. D is actually correct. DEA requires that pharmacy must maintain initial and biannual inventories. You do have to do that. Records of controlled substances and self-certification certificate and logbook. For the most part. Good job. Contrasting the function of National Association of Boards of Pharmacy, that's what NABP is, National Association of Boards of Pharmacy, and State Boards of Pharmacy, which is BOP. Which of the following is correct? The National Boards of Pharmacy accredit professional degree programs. The State Board of Pharmacies are responsible for ensuring safe working conditions. That's more like OSHA. The National Boards of Pharmacy rely on the State Board of Pharmacies for assistance. The State Board of Pharmacies rely on the National Board of Pharmacies for assistance. C and D seem like they contradict each other. And letter B, again, is for OSHA.
agree, A? Okay.
Good job. Huh. I would have guessed A. The state board of pharmacies rely on the National Board of Pharmacies for assistance. OSHA is responsible for ensuring safe work conditions. And ACPE accredits professional degree programs, which that is true. That we are an ACPE program, so. State Board of Pharmacies rely on National Board of Pharmacies for assistance. All right. Which of the following drugs would be classified as Schedule 1 under the DEA's guidelines?
There's only one that is not on the, which came there. One they used in young guns. Which one? D? Oh, C. I got this air. C? Yeah.
C is that cactus that the
Young guns used when they started trying to get to a different. Have y'all seen Young Guns? Haven't seen Young Guns? Oh Lord, I'm old.
I need to see it. It's a good one. Peyote is a hallucinogenic and is classified as Schedule 1. The other drugs would fall between Schedules 2 and 5, depending on their dosage form.
Was it?
It's like
I can't explain it. It makes you hallucinate.
which of the following may handle the disposition of controlled substances? Controlled substances would probably give it away.
And disposition. The way in which something is placed or arranged. So we mainly controls the handling of control substances. What's that?
Not so much. I wouldn't think. You could be right. To me, my guess would be the DEA, because they control substances. Huh. Reverse distributor. A reverse distributor is permitted to handle the disposition of controlled substances. Okay, that's new to me. The DEA enforces the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1970. What's that? Oh. Which defines a reverse distributor. The FDA, which defines a reverse distributor. Okay, the DEA enforces the Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act of 1970, which defines a reverse distributor. Okay, so they're the ones who define, they're the ones that like set up that reverse distribution. The FDA is responsible to ensure that the medications specified as controlled substances by the FDA are pure, safe, and effective. The drug manufacturer is responsible for manufacturing medication.
Where's distributed?
All right, next one. Which of the following types of medications may be returned to a drug manufacturer? Cytotoxic medications, compounded medications, reconstituted medications, unopened bottles of medications in the original manufacturer's bottle. That's my guess. Pharmacy rate may return unopened bottles of medication in the original manufacturer's bottle based upon the terms of the agreement between the drug manufacturer and the pharmacy. Cytotoxic medications are disposed of with biohazardous waste products. Compounded medications are not returnable. Reconstituted medications may be discarded in the pharmacy's trash. So unopened bottles of medication in the original manufacturer's bottle. Next one. According to USP 800, what is the minimum number of air changes per hour when compounding hazardous drugs? Again, you wouldn't kind of know this unless you work in a hospital pharmacy or a pharmacy that deals with compounding chemotherapy drugs. What would be your guess? B? B? Good job. Good guess. USP 800 requires a minimum of 12 air changes per hour. The USP stands for United States Pharmacopoeia. 12 air changes per hour when compounding hazardous drugs. The patient is diagnosed with multiple myeloma and is prescribed Thalidomide, which is the maximum day supply that can be prescribed. 14, 15, 28, or 30. The maximum.
So that's thalidomide. It can treat and prevent skin disease caused by leprosy. You got a different guess? Okay.
Say D. Let's try A first. The doctor may provide a prescription for up to 28 days supply for Thalidomide with no refill. So 28 days for Thalidomide. While compounding a hazardous medication, some of the medication is spilled in the technician's eye. How long should the technician flood the affected eye with water or isotonic eye wash?
I would say most. At least that's what I did. I did it like for about 20 minutes. And
I messed up. It hurt my eye. For eye exposure to hazardous drugs, the affected eye should be flooded in eye wash fountain or with water or isotonic eye wash, designated for the purpose for at least 15 minutes. Which over-the-counter medication became restricted as a result of the Combat Methamphetamine Epidemic Act. So which one can you only get behind the pharmacy?
Because people were making methamphetamine.
You might have seen this in
Breaking Bad.
You didn't watch that one either? You didn't watch the TV. A is dextromethorphan.
That's actually Delcia. You see Delcia more.
You say D? C? Guaifenesin is Robitussin. And ranitidine is Zantac. So yes, pseudoephedrine. The selling of pseudoephedrine is regulated under Combat Methamphetamine Epidemic Act.
Because they were making meth out of it. Or they are making meth out
All right. According to the Controlled Substance Act, how long must controlled substance invoices be maintained by a pharmacy? Controlled substance invoices to be maintained in the pharmacy. That's a good guess. Controlled Substance Act requires controlled substance invoice be retained a minimum of 2 years. According to the Controlled Substance Act, how often must an inventory of controlled substances be taken? Weekly, monthly, yearly, every 2 years.
Okay? You say?
Actually, the Controlled Substance Act requires that a pharmacy perform biannual or every 2 years inventory of all controlled substances stocked in pharmacy. An exact count must be performed on Schedule II medications, and an estimated count must be done on medications from Schedule 3 to 5. An institution may perform an inventory more frequently if required by either state law or organizational policy. For the most part, the organization may want you to keep count on a daily basis, just to make sure that the number is correct. But this one, I guess what gives it away is the Controlled Substance Act, and we do have to take inventory every 2 years in regards to that act. Prior to using DEA's Controlled Substance Ordering System, or CSOS, what must the purchaser possess? A CSOS digital DEA number, CSOS digital certificate, CSOS digital self-certification, or all of these? Let's see. An individual must enroll the DEA to acquire a CSOS digital certificate prior to using the DEA's Controlled Substance Ordering System. So, just a certificate. The company will already have a DEA number, and there is no digital self-certification. Which legislation mandated that supposed to be drug utilization evaluation, DUE, Formerly known as Drug Utilization Review, DUR, be conducted with each prescription or medication. Which legislation? This is more geared to you or the pharmacist counseling patient. Should be B. Over 90, mandated drug utilization evaluation, DUE, formerly known as DUR, be performed on each prescription or medication. So anytime you see DUE, DUR, it's going to be dealing with over 90. All right, I'm going to change course here, and I'm going to do move on to the next set of questions, which are patient and safety and quality assurance. See how far we get. Celexa and Zyprexa are examples of what? And look at the how it's spelled here and what is capitalized. That's usually what gives it away. Drugs using tall man lettering, high alert medications, medications appearing on the do not use list, or medications that should not be crushed.
Huh? A?
Yeah. Yeah. And just the way it's spelled is just gives it away. Tall man. Tall man. A vaccine error was discovered by the pharmacy technician. To which organization should this error be reported? FDA, ISMP, TJC, or USP? ISMP is Institute for Safety Medication Practices. Which one? D? We all agree. No? A. So let's go with A. Let's try it. Vaccine errors should be reported to the ISMP, National Vaccine Error Reporting Program. So VERP stands for Vaccine Error Reporting Program. ISMP stands for Institute for Safety Medication Practices. USP stands for United States Pharmacopoeia. Let me see what TJC stands for. The Joint Commission. Which of the following might increase the likelihood of medication errors? A physician using abbreviations not found in hospital's formulary. Asking a pharmacy technician to check your pharmacy math calculations. Providing an in-service on medication orders. Reading the drug label carefully when obtaining the drug from the pharmacy shelf. Which of the following might increase likelihood of medication error? So to me, C and D they're too logical. It's just, they're too correct to me.
A.
Correct. An important component of hospitals' formulary is a list of approved abbreviations that may be used on medication orders. Writing medication orders with unapproved abbreviations that may have multiple meanings can cause healthcare workers to guess with dispensing and administering medications.
Yeah.
Which of the following pharmacy resources can be used to verify the correct medication has been selected from the shelf to fill the prescription? Is it generic and brand names on unit stock containers? Drug names on the original prescription? NDC number? All of the above.
What's that?
B or D?
B. You said B.
Good job. The generic and brand names on the stock bottle, the drug name on the prescription, and the NDC number are used to verify the correct medication that's been selected from the shelf to fill the prescription.
All the above.
The abbreviation AU and OU should not be used because they can be misinterpreted. What do AU and OU mean? Both ears and both eyes?
Why you got B for business?
You think?
B.
Good job. AU and OU stand for both ears and both eyes. They should not be used because they might be easily confused. All of the following organizations track medication errors except well, we know FDA does. Let's see what CMS is.
B as in boy? CDC?
Actually, medication errors are tracked through multiple organizations, including Drug Centers for Disease Control and USP, U.S. Pharmacopoeia, Institute of Safe Medication Practices, ISMP, and National Coordinating Council for Medication Error Reporting. So CMS is the wrong one.
I'm looking at that one up.
I guess it's Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. That's what the acronym shows. Which is, yeah. Which legislation required risk evaluation and mitigation strategies to be established? Combat Methamphetamine Epidemic Act, Drug Supply Chain Security Act, Food and Drug Administration Amendments Act, Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act. Which legislation required risk evaluation and mitigation strategies?
B. You different guess? B.
Let's try D first. REMS are required risk management plans. They use risk minimization strategies beyond the professional labeling to ensure that the benefits of certain prescription drugs outweigh their risk as authorized by the Food and Drug Administration amendments. So it's actually C, Act of 2007. So Food and Drug Administration Amendments Act of 2007 required risk evaluation and mitigation strategies. Which term is defined as the process of identifying the most up-to-date list of all medication a patient is taking? Drug utilization evaluation, drug utilization review, medication reconciliation, or patient profile update. Process of identifying the most up-to-date list of all medications. Let's try. Medication reconciliation is the process of obtaining a list of all medications, prescription and over-the-counter drugs that a patient is taking. Drug utilization evaluation, formerly known as the drug utilization review, is part of the prescription filling process in which the prescription being filled is being checked against other medications on a patient's profile to make sure there are no drug interactions or contraindications. Patient profiles information about the patient to include demographic information, history of disease state, illness, allergies, and medications the patient is taking. So it's medication reconciliation. Which organization establishes standards of care for hospitals and long-term care facilities? Of course, DA is for controlled substance. NABP, still with just the pharmacy. TJC is the Joint Commission. And I've seen that. See them people going to the hospital. CMS, what was CMS? Yeah, medical. So what y'all get? C? Yeah. Joint Commission accredits various healthcare organizations such as hospitals, long-term care facilities, home health care suppliers, and home infusion pharmacies. Them and OSHA, they kind of work together and they both give a whole hospital, not just the pharmacy. Okay, next. Which of the following describes a prescribing error? The prescription is interpreted incorrectly. The prescription is transcribed incorrectly. The pharmacist incorrectly counsels the patient. The prescription contains an incomplete medication name. Prescribing error. Which one? B. Correct. Good job. Physician, nurse practitioner, or other authorized prescriber writes an incomplete medication name. It is considered a prescribing error. The other choices: the prescription is interpreted incorrectly, the prescription is transcribed incorrectly, and the pharmacist incorrectly counseled the patient, are considered dispensing errors. So I guess just think prescriber as your doctor, and prescribing, kind of put those two together. Which of the following statements is true regarding a system approach to medication errors? The system approach holds individuals responsible for the medication errors responsible. The system's approach involves categorizing and analyzing errors to determine the cause of the medication error. The system's approach reprimands the person in the presence of the remaining pharmacy staff. The system's approach resolves the issue quickly. Which statement sounds the most truthful? Which one? Good job. The system's approach involves categorizing and analyzing errors to determine the cause of medication error. This information is used to find a solution to prevent this error from occurring again. Which of the following indicates the correct use of zeros and decimal points for a medication dose? Which one looks the most correct? Which one? B? Yeah. You wouldn't put a zero behind or the decimal behind this. And the same with this, you wouldn't put it. And you would need a zero here in front. So, yes, letter D. 0.0, levothyroxine 0.2 is written correctly. Haloperidol. Both of those are incorrect. The presence of trailing zeros and absence of leading zeros may result in errors. The Joint Commission issued the Do Not Use list. The abbreviation U, meaning unit, should not be used because it has been mistaken for all of the following, except which one? Which one? D? C? Abbreviation U or U has been mistaken for zero. The number 4 or CC? Nah. So it has not been mistaken for ID. Interesting. In what proportion should 20% zinc oxide be mixed with white petrolatum to produce a 3% zinc oxide ointment? Don't think you'll see this. And I'm going to have to show you zinc oxide. with what proportion should 20% zinc oxide be mixed with white petrolatum to produce 3% zinc ornaments?
And I think that's allegations. So you have your higher one, which is 3% is actually going to be in the middle, because that's what we want to do. And then the petrolatum, black petrolatum, is 0. And you find the difference. So it'd be 17 parts to 2 parts. So it should be it's got petrolatum. That's not the finished, but that's how you do it.
Just that part. This problem can be solved by using allegations where 20% is the highest concentration, 3% is the concentration to be prepared, and petrolatum has a concentration of 0. For the 20%, subtract the 0 from 3, and what we just did. Everybody understand? Usually, whenever they say you got 1%, and then this other part you got to mix with, and they don't give a percent, it's usually going to be 0. Which of the following dosage forms may be crushed? Extended release dosage forms, medications with teratogenic effect, oral tablets, or sublingual tablets. I can tell you that in something with extended release,
You got XL, SR, anything like that, whatever the extended release, you got SL, sustained release, SR, those cannot crush, because those are long acting, and those digest in intestines rather than stomach. Teratogenic effect, that one you probably shouldn't crush. And sublingual tablets. Okay. So for the most part, it's oral tablets. Oral tablets may be crushed. The ISAP has indicated the following should never be crushed. Slow release dosage forms, which like they end in SR or extend XR or something like that. Film coated dosage forms like the enteric coated aspirins and stuff like that cannot be crushed. Sublingual dosage forms, liquid filled dosage forms, effervescent tablets, dosage forms that may irritate the mucous membrane or have a local anesthetic effect on the oral mucosa or irritate the skin. Those where the medication rate of absorption may be increased, and those that have teratogenic effect. Psychiatric patient cheats a medication, hiding it in his cheek and then spitting it out later. One medication error has occurred: improper storage, wrong time error, compliance error, unauthorized drug error. See? Sounds more logical. Patient does not adhere to the prescribed drug regimen, it's causing a compliance error. The other errors will not apply to this scenario. Medication errors can be reduced by implementing inventory management practices that include implementing a system to identify short-dated medications,
separating ophthalmic and inotic preparations on the shelf, storing each type of insulin in a separate bin in the refrigerator, or all the above. Medication errors can be reduced by implementing inventory management practice.
We also love
Yeah. So all the above. What is the maximum number of units a U100 insulin syringe will contain?
I could say that insulin syringe is 1 mil, and per unit, it's 100 units per unit. Usually what it goes for instance. 100 units per unit. So if you have insulin syringe that's just 1 mil, that's the maximum that a syringe can be for insulin. What you guess?
Yeah. Could be D.
No, sir. Listen. I can tell you will get a lot of methods that use those for that want that, and we do not dispense those people who do not have an insulin prescription. All on the ground and everything.
Yeah. So 1 mil. Insulin is 100 mils, 100 units per 1 mil. So the maximum you can get in that syringe. Which of the following medication carries a boxed warning? Cholecalciferol, that's a vitamin, I think a vitamin D. Yeah, vitamin D3. Would insulin carry a box warning? Or would it be these other two oral medications? Anybody got a guess?
Which one?
Metformin is for diabetes. Allegedly, could treat osteoporosis, and brand name is Fosamax. Usually, that one would be the one with the box warning because you cannot lay down or something like 30 minutes after you take it. My guess would be a limit. No, it's looking 5. Metformin. That's interesting. That's diabetic medication. That's dispensed on a regular basis. That's you and me.
So was that? Yeah, on a daily basis.
Yeah, because even a lindronate, that's like once a week. So. Which of the following abbreviations is not a route of administration?
Y'all know y'all abbreviations?
Y'all know what IM is?
Intramuscular.
PO?
I'm out.
SL?
Under the tongue. Sublingual.
So,
PRN means as needed. And you PRN, you have like PRN fill-ins, like for people who work PRN, if it's as needed, they're not full-time.
but we're talking about route of administration. Is that a route of administration? That would be PRN.
PRN is as needed, but that's not a route of administration. Which one? Yeah, correctly. Right. Yeah.
And usually you won't see a route
That's 3 letters.
The ISMP has classified both buspirone and bupropion as examples of which of the following: drugs that should not be chewed or crushed, drugs using tall man letters, high alert medication in the acute care setting, and high alert medication in the long term setting.
Just gotta look at it. Let's see.
D, tall man letter. Yeah. Anything that you see that's got capital letters like that's going to involve tall man. Which of the following levels is considered a wrong dose error? I guess you would have to know creatine levels. It's something that pharmacists keep track of whenever they're checking the antibiotics and stuff in your system. More hospital-based. Which of the following levels is considered a wrong dose error? I actually don't know this. Anybody got a guess? A? Let's go with A. Wrong dose error occurs when a dose is above or below the intended dose by more than 5%. See? I really don't know the actual question because that's just like out of my league right there. We couldn't tell you. It's more of a hospital question. Wrong dose error occurs when the dose is above or below the intended dose by more than 5%. Okay. Which type of hospital error occurs when a medication is compounded incorrectly or administered to the patient? Wrong administration, wrong dosage form, wrong drug preparation, unauthorized drug error. When a medication is compounded incorrectly. What do you say? See, that would be my guess too. According to the ASHP, this is an example of wrong drug preparation, which is defined as drugs being incorrectly formulated or manipulated and the medication is administered to the patient. That happens. Which medication error term is correctly matched with its definition? Unauthorized drug error, medication being stored at room temperature when it should have been refrigerated. Wrong time error, medication administered outside the scheduled time frame. Compliance error, medication administered to a patient from an unauthorized prescriber. Improper storage, patient does not adhere to prescribed regimen. Let's say that too. Most logical to me, that seems to relate to each other. Following terms and definitions are correctly matched. Unauthorized drug error, medication administered to a patient from an unauthorized prescriber. Wrong time error, that's the one we picked. Compliance error is patient does not adhere to the prescribed regimen. Improper storage, medication being stored at room temperature when it should have been refrigerated. In a community pharmacy, that's retail pharmacy, which drug classification warrants extreme care when dispensing? I guess you would have to know the drug classes and as a channel blockers. Extreme care should be used in community pharmacy when dispensing oral hypoglycemic agents, antiretroviral agents, oral chemotherapeutic agents, immunosuppressant agents, insulin, opioids, and pediatric liquid medications that require them. Calcium channel blockers are heart medications. HMG COA, that's another heart medication. Cephalosporin is antibiotic. What's that? Yeah. Which of the following auxiliary labels should be affixed to a bottle of Montelukast? They discolor urine, they cause dizziness, they cause drowsiness, take on an empty stomach. Montelukast is an anti-nausea. More than likely, you probably ate something. Like I said, so it wouldn't be. I wouldn't think empty stomach, but I could be wrong. Good job. B. Anybody else? B? Montelukast should be taken on an empty stomach. Yeah, okay. With 6 to 8 ounces of water. So yeah, I was wrong. Which of the following abbreviations appears on the Joint Commission's Do Not Use list? These are all route. Well, not all of them are route. Anybody know what BID means? 2 times a day. PO means by mouth. IV means intravenously. Anybody know what POD is? Usually that's really not good. But that's something that you shouldn't use. So it would be POD. period after the Q could be mistaken for I. I don't know why. What is MedWatch? A program that identifies controlled substances being overprescribed in areas where there has been an outbreak of heroin overdoses. A reporting program available to pharmacies indicating physicians who may be overprescribing narcotics. A reporting program available to healthcare providers to report adverse events that pose serious health threats. A service established by the AARP to monitor polypharmacy in elderly adults. I tell you, it's not D or C. B? What? Well, to me, I thought it was only pertaining to pharmacies. So MedWatch is a program instituted by the FDA that involves voluntary reporting of adverse health events. Okay. That's new to me. Patient package inserts are required to be given to all patients receiving which medications? I would say so. Patient package inserts are required to be given to all patients receiving metered-dose inhalers, oral contraceptives, and estrogen and progesterone. All of the following are examples of medications contained on the ISFP high alert medications or community pharmacy, except which one? Examples of medications contained on the ISFP high alert medication. All of them except which one? You know metformin is already on there. I would say methotrexate is on there because it's a chemo drug. And my guess would be levothyroxine as well would be on there. My guess is A. I don't know. Carbamazepine. Levothyroxine is not a medication listed on the ISMP list of high alert medications for community pharmacy. Medications listed include carbamazepine, seizures, treat seizures. Carbamazepine, heparin, liquid midazolam, metformin, methotrexate, propylfluorouracil, and warfarin. So levothyroxine is the exception. 75-year-old female patient presents prescription for nitrofurantoin to be filled. What should the pharmacy technician do? Contact the prescriber's office, fill the prescription, inform the pharmacist of the situation, refuse to fill the prescription. What's the first reason? First things to know, to inform the pharmacist. Nitrofurantoin has been identified as a potentially inappropriate medication for elderly patients by the American Geriatric Society, and the technician should inform the pharmacist. All of the following medications may be chewed, except which one? That be Azatidine is just an antihistamine. Azolastine is actually an eye drop. Which one? C or D? You said D? It's an eye drop. Only the following may be chewed. I wouldn't think this one. It's gotta be. Right. Benzone and tape. Show you what they look like. They're little capsules here, and they're mostly for cough, but they really, you cannot really chew them because they'll just be squishy. So, I mean, and again, it does say that chewing benzone tape will result in excessive salivization. Yeah, it's hydro. That's what I'm saying. Let me see if there's any. Nasal. They're nasal. This is nasal, eye drop. I guess they make a solid form. It doesn't really say. Doesn't really say that it's solid. I know for a fact that we're not supposed to chew these. They're also called Tessalon pearls. Which of the following categories of medications is found on the list of high alert medications issued by the ISFE for community and ambulatory care settings? Which y'all's guess? Proton pump inhibitors, that's like your Prilosec. Opioids is like your codeines and stuff. B. Opioids appear on the list of high alert medications, which is understandable. It's got your codeine, your fentanyl, stuff like that. So these, I believe, it's a heart medication, and of course, we know what antibiotics are. Which of the following abbreviations would be appropriate and safe for a physician to use? B. C. So the physician should avoid all the above. SC and SQ are interchangeable, but SQ and SC and SL are not, creating transfer error. Which of the following is considered to be a legend drug? A legend drug
there's two different types. You got your legend and you got your OTC. No? D?
Federal legend states the following: federal law prohibits the dispensing of a drug without a prescription. Prescription drugs are legend drugs. Which of the following abbreviations appears on the do not use list? It's TID. 3 times a day. BID is 2 times a day. Anybody know what QD? Every day. So you got things here. Abbreviations found in drug commissions do not use this include U, IU. So it's B. I don't know why they would use this one. Well, you got BID, TID, QID is 4 times. 4 times a day. And that could be mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. I would have guessed B2. I mean, C. Which of the laboratory tests must be performed and monitored if a patient is receiving a prescription for clozapine? This is more of a lab question. Thyroid stimulator. See? Patients receiving clozapine, clozaril, they experience adrenocytosis. Early detecting reversal of adrenocytosis is possible through the monitoring of reporting of patients of white blood cells and absolute neutrophil counts to the clozaril national registry. And clozapine is for, again, the people who are on meth to make them not as dependent. Patient is applied a heating pad to an area where she had applied a fentanyl transdermal patch to her skin. This action caused the release of all the medication at once, resulting in an overdose. What type of error occurred? Human error, product defect error, physician prescribing error, technical failure from improper application. D. A. Human error. What'd you say to that? A. Technical error occurs as a result of applying the medication improperly. So, either technical failure from improper application. It's the heat that's made it release. Well, I would say given area as well, but uh, I would just say that I mean the heating pad is all of it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is heating air. Yeah.
I didn't consider the heating pad part. Like, I was just thinking I should put a black on this place. I was thinking it's like medicine and stuff.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Yeah. I would probably take heating air as well. But because there's a technicality because of the heating pad. So just remember that. Which of the following can be done by a pharmacy employee to help reduce fatigue and help prevent medication errors? Avoid caffeine, exercise regularly, obtain enough sleep each night. Has to be. Yeah. Avoid caffeine, huh? Develop a tolerance. Just like with everything else. What is MedMark's National Medication Error Reporting System? An international adverse drug effect reporting system, a vaccine adverse effect reporting system, or the FDA adverse effect reporting system. Today, MedMarks is an international adverse drug effect reporting system used to prevent medication errors leading to adverse drug effects. It is used to gain better understanding of adverse drug reactions. So that's an international based. FDA does have their own, and I'm assuming the vaccine adverse effect reporting system would have to do with the CDC or something. I mean, you're seeing that with the Johnson & Johnson and CDC is the one that's reporting that. The what? The vac- it's creating the well, it's not a high percentage. There's only two females that I've heard happen. From Johnson. Well, it's the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. I just got my Pfizer. Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if it's true. I don't know if it's true. I've seen it, but they say like something with protein involved. I don't know how true that is. Maybe those people just probably already had it, and then, they had to counter it and said they probably
Well, I'll fill y'all in.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
I know some of the side effects were Bell's palsy, which is side effect. Um, I don't know about. I didn't hear that about herpes. Okay.
All right. Which of the following would be appropriate for a pharmacy technician to do to ensure the correct drug name appears on the prescription label? Check the medication administration record. Look at the medication 3 times before completing the prescription. Make sure the patient understands how to take the medication. Verify after the data has been entered into the system that the prescription label contains the accurate drug, strength, and dosage as written on the prescription. Most logical. D. I was thinking.
That what? Shingles.
Yeah.
Put me on that for
Oh, man. Well, we'll see. The Institute of Safe Medication Practice, ISMP, recommends that the abbreviation IU should not be used because it may be confused with pharmacy abbreviation. D, IV. That would be the most logical because they kind of look the same. The Institute of Safe Medication Practice, ISMP has identified that Acifex has been mistaken for which of the following drugs? Actipril, Activase, Actimel, or Actose.
Yes. D. Yeah. Let's look at A first. Correct. Acifex has been mistaken for Actipril. I would say the A and the P here. Paxil and Plavix are examples of drugs that should not be crushed or chewed. High alert medications. Looking like, sounding like drug names. Tall man. C. It is C. Paxil and Plavix are examples of looking like, sounding like drug names. ISMP issues a list of looking like, sounding like drug names. Did y'all get a list of that? It might be in y'all's index in the book section. Might want to look at this. What is a drug monograph? An image of the medication. Definition of SDS. Literature on a specific drug by the drug manufacturer that may include description, indications, contraindications, adverse effects, and warnings. Definition of a patient product. Which one? See. Most logical to me. Lamivudine is an example of ISMP of a high alert medication used in the community setting. High alert medication used in an acute care setting. High alert medication used in a long-term care facility. Homeopathic agent. It's used for antiviral, it's an antiviral drug in HIV. Community setting is like your retail community. Long term. It's actually in the community setting. Which type of medication error occurs if the prescription is interpreted incorrectly by the pharmacy technician? Prescribing error, dispensing error, administration error, or all of these above? Hmm? 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 Y'all are correct. Dispensing is part of dispensing product prescriptions. That's entering the prescription and counting the prescription. Prescribing error is dealing with the prescriber or the doctor, and the administration error is dealing with how they took it, if they took it wrong. Which of the following accredits healthcare organizations? B, HHS. It's actually the Joint Commission of all healthcare. It credits all healthcare. HHS. Oh, HHS is the Health and Human Services. Which medication error reporting and prevention (MERP) category is assigned when the error occurred may have contributed to the patient's death? That's something that's new to me there. See, categories. A category is no error. Capacity to cause error. B is error that did not reach the patient. C is error that reached the patient but unlikely to cause harm. Letter D, error that reached the patient and could have necessitated monitoring and or intervention to preclude harm. E is error that could have caused temporary harm. F is error that could have caused temporary harm requiring initial or prolonged hospitalization. G is error that could have resulted in permanent harm. H, error that could have necessitated intervention to sustain life. And I, error that could have resulted in death. So it goes from no harm to death. A to I. When I was in retail, we never dealt. We didn't have any of this stuff. Which organization established and oversees MedWatch,
as a voluntary program to report adverse events or sentinel events that are observed or suspected for human medical products, which include serious drug side effects. D? I would say D. Yeah. FDA established and oversees MedWatch. So that's their drug monitoring program. What is the purpose of box warning, formerly known as black box warning? Call attention to dosing issues, call attention to some side effects associated with the medication, call attention to medication in short supply, call attention to serious or life-threatening risks. What do you want to do? D? Let's try D first. Box warning is formerly known as black box warning. Is designed to call attention to serious or life-threatening risks. When I think of that, I think of the black box in an airplane. Because they need that to see what happens. They cause the airplane to fall, causing death. Which of the following may reduce medication errors in a pharmacy? Have the same individual who entered the prescription order into the computer fill the prescription. Use the original prescription in preparing the prescription. Use the computer generated prescription label when preparing the prescription. Or all the above. Okay. It's actually the original prescription should be used in preparing the prescription. So it's B, not the computer generated label, because the label may have been entered incorrectly. It is best to have different person fill the prescription than the individual who entered it to the computer. Just, you have 2 eyes on it or 4 eyes on it, because the second individual can validate the prescription. So use the original prescription. All of the following may contribute to a medication error, except what? Clutter, comfortable temperatures, interruptions, or pharmacy floaters. Logical. What is pharmacy floater? People who come in from like a different store, like you got a chain store, and they pull like from Odessa, they bring a person from like the CVS to look at the CVS here in the room. Or person who works different hospitals. Who oversees spares? So FDA oversees MedWatch. CMS was that the medical one? That may be it. Right. That's it. What's that? Layers is, I know it's a medication error.
Yeah. It's FDA adverse event reporting system. So let me see how to.
So it's actually FDA adverse reporting system is overseen by FDA. So they got Bayers and MedWatch. Where would you find a list of high alert medications?
B as in what?
ISMP. Just remember, ISMP deals with the high alert, torment lettering, lookalike satellite. A prescription of atorvastatin, 20 milligrams, is dispensed to a patient who takes the medication home. Prior to taking their first dose, the patient observes the medication looks different than what they have taken in the past. The patient contacts the pharmacy and reads the code on the tablet to the pharmacist. The pharmacist determines that's a 40 milligram atorvastatin that was dispensed. Which category medication error occurred? Category medication error. And that's on the Merck, where A is no error capacity to cause error, B, error that did not reach the patient, C, error that reached the patient but unlikely cause harm, D, error that reached the patient and could have necessitated monitoring and or intervention to prevent harm. And that's all under the Merck medication error reconciliation program. So, which one is on? Letter B is error that did not reach the patient. Letter C is error that reached the patient but unlikely to cause harm. Omission to consider to reach the patient. Anyway, let's look at category C error. Defined as an error that reached the patient but did not cause. But again, you can find these in the MERP program. Which of the following work environmental practices can be employed to reduce medication errors? Automate and barcode all field procedures. Maintain a clean, organized, orderly, and well-lit area. Provide appropriate computer applications and hardware. They all work. The following work environment practices can be employed to reduce medication. All the above seem logical. MedMarks is overseen by which organization?
ISMP.
Good job. MedMarks, ISMP. In an acute care facility, which drug classification warrants extreme care when dispensing? Antithrombotic agents, calcium channel blockers, H2 antagonists, or proton pump inhibitors. And those are all drug classes.
Which one? B? C? Extreme care should be used when dispensing antithrombotic agents in an acute care setting. Other classifications requiring extreme care include adrenergic antagonists, anesthetic agents, antiarrhythmics, antithrombotic agents, cardioplegic solutions, chemotherapeutic agents, dextrose, hypertonic 20% or greater, dialysis solutions, epidural or intrathecal medications, hypoglycemics, and inotropic agents, insulin, liposomal forms of drugs, moderate sedation agents, narcotics, opioids, neuromuscular blocking agents, peripheral nutritional agents, radial contrast agents, sterile water for injection, inhalation and irrigation, and sodium chloride for injection, hypertonic greater than 0.9% concentration. So it is anti-thrombotic agents. Pharmacy technician may perform which tasks in medication therapy management? Assist with analyzing and optimizing the workflow in the pharmacy, assist in the scheduling of the NTM services, promote the availability of the medication therapy management service to patients, or all of these. Okay. Pharmacy technicians may assist with analyzing and optimizing the workflow in the pharmacy, schedule ETN services, and promote availability. So all of the above. What's that? MTM is medication therapy management. Which of the following may be identified during medication reconciliation? Dosing errors, drug duplications, drug-drug interactions, or all of the above? Which one? C? D? Good job. Medication reconciliation can identify dosing errors, drug duplication, drug interactions, and drug omissions. Let's see. Which medication has been identified with a high incidence of medication errors? Premarin is your conjugated estrogens or your hormones. Synthroid is the levothyroxine, which we already discussed. That was a high alert. So to me, it's either insulin or glucophage. Okay. Medication associated with high incidence of medication errors is insulin, morphine, potassium chloride, albuterol, heparin, vancomycin, sulfasalin, acetaminophen, wow, warfarin, and furosemide. Surprise acetaminophen. Adderall, Inderall are examples of confused drug names, drugs used in toll-man lettering, high alert medications, medications that should not be crushed. Okay.
Adderall and Adderall examples of drugs that were confusing. Good job. Certain medications need to be used with caution in elderly adults. The correct rationale is matched to the medication in each case below, except which one. So I guess these you would have to remember your drug classes, what they're for. Got your thiazolidinide, can't even say it, causes heart failure. Benzodiazepine causes drowsiness. Oral decongestants cause drowsiness. And aspirin increases the likelihood of gastric or duodenal ulcers. And we're talking about the elderly here. Let's look at C. Decongestants cause insomnia, not drowsiness. Thiazolidinidiones, I can't even say it, cause heart failure. Benzodiazepine cause drowsiness, and aspirin increases the likelihood of gastric duodenal ulcers. So decongestants cause drowsiness. That is the exception. But that's one that's wrong. Last one. To which organization would an individual report a medication error?
I wouldn't think DEA because that's just, they would only deal with medication. D? Which one? D?
It's coming. State Board of Pharmacy investigates all reported claims of medication error and considers appropriate sanctions against all providers. The State Board of Pharmacy is concerned with the practice of pharmacy, including the behavior of pharmacists in a particular state. The DEA is concerned about adherence to the Controlled Substance Act. FDA's priorities are to ensure that food and medications are pure, safe, and effective. And MedWatch is concerned with the adverse effects of medications. And that's a lot on your patient safety. Yeah, patient safety and quality assurance section. I got this recorded, so you need to reference back to it. I'll send it to you. Any questions? All right. Like I said, I'll just pull you straight from here. You haven't gotten it. I can tell you it'll help you out. And it's got the appendix in the back. This in the different abbreviations. Also, it does give you the list of abbreviations that are often mistaken and often cause error. So, it's good. Last day meetings, Wednesday. Just y'all got any questions that come up?
before, by that time, write it down, so we can go back to it. Go do a little bit of math, see what's out, and we'll go over the order entry and processing. If y'all want me to go over anything else other than that, like the medications, that the requirement, or the ones we did today.
It's now Wednesday, so I guess I'll just have to send you
I'll send you a video if you want to come in and another one on Thursday, which is probably a repeat of what we had today. And then I have 4th and 6th. Oh, let me sorry, this. You ready about it? And let me know if y'all want to be the focus on anything else. I don't want to be involved. So what do you do? Can you see? Hope I don't have this ranch. You work good?
my dad was fine.
Okay. That helps out. Oh, still. You got 5 or 2? Okay. Let's see what's up. Well, I'm feeling a lot safer. Well, you got the antibodies already too, right? So you got it, you had it. COVID.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I did have it, I would cover it in like 3 days. It was weird, I got sick, and then after I like started feeling better, that's when my smell and taste went away. But I was still like,
You had any, so that everything came back, everything you did, like you don't have it.
I can have to smell that. Yeah, that was like, probably 2 months ago. You know, maybe hopefully I'm one of those people. I think they said certain people or something like,
Oh, yeah,
hopefully I'm one of those people.
right, you too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty safe, but I'll really,
Get out to the club, all close to this.
yeah, I have to stay safe, especially because,
Yeah, man. Got you, sure. Hey, be safe. All right.